Hey everyone, Alan here. Gonna do the first Ask Alan live video. As I said, some of them might be live, some of them might be pre-recorded, but this is gonna be Ask Alan #1, and I thought I'd do it live. And so, while people are joining and coming on, I also wanted to share something else first. So, the Ask Alan live question that I'm gonna address today, it's a sort of a two-part question. The question was about locating exits and also about orienting yourself inside buildings. So that's going to be the question that I'm going to discuss today in this Alan Live. But I wanted to share something and get some feedback on something else. As many of you know, I see some people joining in, is Hapkido good for learning locks and restraints? Samuel, Hapkido is excellent for learning locks and restraints. That's what we do. If you check out my videos, you'll see that. But I want some future questions I'm not going to answer today. I'm going to save those for other Alan Live. I'm going to answer the other two that I just mentioned. But before I answer those questions, I'm going down memory lane a little. As many of you know, my father died last year. And it got me going through some of my stuff. Because I don't want my stuff to really be, people have to go through it like we had to go through some of my dad's. I want it more organized, streamlined, get rid of stuff. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. But going through some old military stuff, I found some things I wanted to share, and then I wanted to ask a quick question. Then we'll get to the Ask Alan part. I found my old airborne certificate. Can you believe this? It was like 22nd November, 1985 that I first jumped out of airplanes and graduated jump school. Fond memory. You see me posting airborne stuff. I'd like to jump again, and maybe I will one of these days. I found my old, the sniper certificate when I graduated sniper school, which was very important to me. Successfully completed sniper course number 7-88, 351 hours, 2 July 1988 to 29 July 1988. It was a 4-week division school, so it was just in the 2nd Infantry Division at Camp Casey, but that was the sniper school that I went to. And with that, I found, which was cool, this letter, a letter of commendation, which is, I commend you for professional and first-rate service you provided as assistant instructor to the 2nd Infantry Division Sniper School, cycle 8-88, 6 August 1988 to 2 September 1988. Because essentially, when I graduated sniper school, I was asked back for the next class as an assistant instructor, and a nice letter. But here are the two that means the most to me. These really mean something. And it's because of who signed them. This one is the first ROC. It's a certificate of achievement for completing the regiment ROC indoctrination program. Okay? Just a short little thing when you get to the 2nd Infantry Division and you went to the 3rd ROC, a little thing you had to go through. But it's signed by Lieutenant Colonel David L. Grange. That's why this certificate means something to me. If you don't know David Grange, who would, right? Except those of us maybe in the military. Colonel Grange, when he signed this, retired as Major General Grange, 2-star general. But before he signed this, he had been a member of Delta Force. And he was the hardcore, the best commanding officer I ever trained under. And tons of respect for the man. And that's why that certificate and then this certificate they mean something to me. And this certificate, Certificate of Achievement awarded to Private Alain Burrese, United States Army, for exceptionally meritorious achievement while performing as a sniper, Company C, 1st Battalion, 503rd Infantry Regiment, from 6 May 88 to 6 August 1988. Private Burrese displayed an exceptional amount of mental and physical stamina and discipline in order to complete the grueling and demanding sniper course. Private Burrese finished the course in 2nd place overall and 1st in the battalion. Private Burrese's outstanding performance of duty is in keeping with the finest traditions of military service and reflects great credit upon him, the 1st 503rd Infantry Regiment, and the United States Army. 10 October 1988, David L. Grange, Lieutenant Colonel, Infantry, commanding. I said it's important because of who signed it. So much respect for General Grange, Major General Grange, when he finally got out, but he was Lieutenant Colonel when I served with him and served under him. I didn't know him. I mean, personally, I mean, he doesn't remember me. I mean, I only interacted with him individually a couple times, and it was very short. I was in the battalion that he was talking to many times, or leading us in different training exercises or runs, but a lot of respect for that man. And, you know, I found these certificates, and it brought back some memories. But it also reminded me, I have a VHS tape somewhere down in the boxes that I'm going through because of that, you know, being reminded I need to go through stuff. But down there in those boxes, there's a VHS tape that I took during the graduation ceremony of that letter that I just read, the Class 8-88, where Lieutenant Colonel Grange was the guest speaker, and he gave a speech about snipers. And so what I was thinking about is, should I maybe put his speech maybe online? Would that be something interesting to people? So if it's interesting, let me know. And then, you know, I'll try to find that VHS tape. It should still be down there. And then when I find that VHS tape, I'll see what I can do as far as, you know, putting Lieutenant Colonel, retired Major General David Grange's speech about snipers online, if that would be interesting to people. But enough about going back to memory lane. Thank you for letting me talk a little bit. I mean, can you believe that? 1988, 30 years ago. That means I'm getting old. But let's go back to the questions, the Ask Alan questions. So the first one, you know, it's a two-part question, sort of from the same person. He wanted to know about finding, you know, he said, yeah, you always say know your exits. But how do you know your exits? How do you find them if they're not obvious? And he gave one example about, you know, going maybe to a nightclub and they got all the windows blackened out and hidden. Okay. Well, with anything, it takes practice. Now, one of the things you can do at nightclub before you go in, if you want to know where the exits are and they're hidden on the inside, look around the outside. Remember, you know, that quote that I love with Robert De Niro. He goes around the back of the building, finds the exit, hides his gun under the milk crates there. You know, this is in the movie Ronin, before he goes in the front door. And when they go out the back door, he gets his gun out, and Deidre, you know, the lady that hired him and the others, she looks at him and sort of funny, and he goes, "Lady, I don't go anywhere I don't know the way out of." You know, and that's how I want people to be. So if you go on the outside of a building, you'll sort of locate them, and then it's your job to maybe find them on the inside. If it's places you go regularly, you know, where you work, where you regularly, if it's a nightclub you frequent every weekend or often, or malls or stores that you go frequently, you should definitely know where those are. Now, when you go to a strange place, you know, maybe it's not as easy, especially if the exits are a little hidden. And remember, fire codes and stuff, they're supposed to have exits marked. And usually that's going to be doors and not windows, though. So windows, yes, maybe they are hidden, and you have to sort of look closer. When you see something, recognize it, and then it'll make it easier to see other things. And while they're always marked, you know, I'm talking about doors and emergency exits are marked, sometimes they are hidden a little bit. I give the example all the time about when I was, you know, at amusement parks. You know, I've been to Disneyland and Universal Studios and those places multiple times. And I'm probably the only person, or one of the only people, standing in line recognizing all the exits as we go by. And sometimes they're blended in because, you know, they make those lines for those places, you know, so they're interactive, and so you're not just standing in line bored. You know, they have all this other cool stuff to keep you occupied while you're standing in line for 1 or 2 or more hours. But they're there. But you got to open your eyes and pay attention. And the more you recognize them, the easier they'll become to spot. And so with anything, just practicing. Thomas Gordon says, good to see you doing your thing, Master Burrese. Good info. And it's awesome that you're even saying hi, because I know you're over there in Italy right now. I've been looking at the pictures, such a fantastic vacation. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you next month in person when we get together. So. But back, you know, exits. Practicing will help you. And then again, if there's a place that you think might have exits, but they're covered with darkened out on the inside of the nightclub, look around the outside of the building. That will give you the clues where to look inside. And that goes right into part 2 of the question by the same person. He wanted to know how you orient yourself inside of places, because he sort of gets lost and can't, inside. And I have to admit, that's foreign to me, because I have always been pretty good at directions. And then it was honed a little bit more by my father, who taught me how to read the maps, not just in the woods, growing up in North Dakota and Montana, and when we were camping, or, we living in the woods when we moved to Thompson Falls, but he taught me how to do the street maps so I could navigate when we were driving. He taught me how to read the mall maps when we go into a mall and the stores. So from a very young age, I've always been really good with maps and being able to orient myself and find my way. And I do understand that it's not that way for everyone. I had, speaking of that 30 years ago, that airborne certificate, I remember a buddy, we went through basic training together, then we went over to jump school together. And we would go down to the mall there in Columbus, because we did basic training and jump school at Fort Benning, Georgia. So we'd go down to the mall outside of Benning at Columbus and to see movies, and they had a cool knife store in the mall, and you do your mall stuff, right? So he would always just get lost in that mall. We'd come out of the theater and he'd like, I want to go to the knife store. And he's going this way. And I'm like, hey, Tim, it's this way. He's like, huh? Are you sure? Yeah, the knife store. If you want the knife store, it's this way. And he would always be baffled of how I always knew where to go, and he had trouble with it. And I understand there are people like that. I do think some of it is natural, but I do think practice can help you. It may not make you the best. I can practice basketball and get better at basketball, but I'm never playing in the NBA. So, practice will make you better, but it might not make you the best. But wherever your baseline is right now, you can become better. But it takes training and practice. Just like we go to our martial art classes and we practice our techniques, or we go to our combatives classes and practice techniques, or you practice on your flute or your piano or whatever instrument you play, or any activity, we can become better with practice. So how do we practice this? Malls can be great, especially if you have a big mall. Go in and read the map and the legend, and then practice going and finding places. And if you screw up, figure out how you screwed up and why. Okay, and if you have a person that's good at it, maybe they can help you. They call it, when you navigate by terrain, you recognize things and you use that. The bad thing about malls is they sometimes change your landmarks, but you can still start figuring it out. And then go outside and look and try to figure directions, and then go inside and try to figure directions. And I don't know for sure, because it just comes so easy for me, and I sometimes have trouble understanding why it's so hard for others. And so maybe I got to think a little bit more on this and do some blogging or some more on it if I figure it out better. But I honestly think practice is really the key. And start small. Maybe go to a smaller store before you go to the bigger mall, or a smaller mall before the larger mall. And just start practicing and noticing things, because that's a big thing. When you go into the mall, you want to notice what entry are you going in. Okay, going in by the Red Robin, that's where I dropped my daughter off. That was the entrance she wanted to go into because it's the quickest to get to the clock tower where she was meeting her friend. Okay, so I went into the Red Robin, and then I know that this store is there and this store is there, and the clock tower is here. I take a right, it goes down to Dillard's. I take a left, and start remembering those kind of things, and you'll get better at identifying them at strange places too. And part of it is innate. It is. When we went to Seoul, when I was living in Korea and we go to Seoul, my wife was always like, you know your way around better than I do. And she's Korean, and I'm American. It's just because I'm good at that, and it's practiced, and more I do it, it just reinforces getting better. When we go back to Gangneung last month to the Olympics, we're walking around downtown, and I was like, yeah, this, and my daughter and wife sort of not remembering where certain stores were from where we are. It's like, no, we go down here, take a right, and it'll go over to there. And then we go down there and we take a right, and I said, yeah, see, it's right there. But that store's never been there before. That's new. That wasn't there. And I'm lucky that I can do that. But I honestly think doing it more will help you get better, just like everything. So go out, start small, recognize things, and take note when you go into places. Okay, what's here? What's there? Which way am I turning? And consciously do that. And then I think as you get better, you will start doing it unconsciously, and it will just sort of come to you a little bit better. Will you be fantastic at it and the best in the world? Maybe not. Maybe just some people are better at some things than others. But you can improve the baseline that you start with. Okay? So I hope that helps and answers the question. I hope this provided a little bit of information. Remember, if you would like to see that sniper video by Lieutenant Colonel David Grange when he was talking at the 2nd Infantry Division graduation, let me know, and I'll see if I can find that VHS and get that posted. If you have other questions, put them in comments. I will do future Ask Alan on questions that I find in comments. I still got a list from the other day. This was just the first one I picked to do. I will also, if you can message me on Facebook Messenger or email me questions, and I'll be doing videos on those too. I appreciate everybody watching. Again, send questions, and I will be answering them the best I can. If I don't answer them good enough, if you watch this, and Sam is one that sent the question, if this didn't help you, write me and let me know, and hold me to it so I give you information that helps you. Okay? Till then, everybody, have a great Easter weekend, and stay safe.